Guitars are made out of wood, and you can't tell a tree how to grow. In this video, I'm going to share 5 tips for buying your very first guitar. The reason it's so important to have some sort of guidelines for buying your first guitar is because if you're buying your first guitar, chances are you're a beginner, or you're a parent maybe buying a guitar for your child who's also presumably a beginner, and you don't really know anything about guitars, and that's okay. And guitars could be very misleading. They could look very pretty and very seductive and make you think that they are a good guitar when really they're not. When it comes to a good guitar, the real secret is kind of under the hood, so to speak. In other words, how the guitar feels, how the guitar plays, how the guitar sounds, and whether the guitar is set up properly. The reason it's so important that you buy a really decent first guitar is that if you buy a lemon or you buy a guitar that just has functional problems and is really difficult to play because it's not a well-made guitar, you are going to have a very hard time learning. Learning how to play the instrument is hard enough, and you can erroneously think that you just are having a hard time learning how to play when the problem is actually the instrument itself is not helping you and in fact could be fighting you. So buy the first guitar the right way, okay? You're probably very excited, right? Maybe you've thought about learning how to play guitar for a long time. Maybe you've saved up your money, right? And you've just had like a light bulb moment. You decided, hey, I'm going to learn how to play guitar. I have the money. I'm going to go out and buy a guitar. This is an exciting time, which is why it's a time when we're prone to make mistakes because we're just excited about getting a guitar or buying a guitar for maybe our child or our younger sibling or somebody that's going to start learning how to play and taking lessons. Nowadays, we think like with other things, we could just go on Amazon and, oh, here's a guitar, click, buy it. That's probably the biggest mistake you can make when you're talking about a musical instrument. I would say you should probably eliminate Amazon from the equation. Most of the time I wouldn't say that, but when it comes to buying a guitar, I would. It's important not to make this decision rashly and just decide, oh, I want a black guitar, I want a black electric guitar, oh, that one's nice and shiny, click, I'm buying it. Or, oh, go to a music store, I like that one, it's in my budget, I'll take that one, sir. And they take it off the wall, and boom, there's your new guitar. You don't know anything about that guitar. And remember this, one may be really good, one may be complete garbage, okay? And there's other elements involved too, like how the instrument was set up, the tuning machines, the intonation, the neck adjustment, things that are specific to that particular instrument that you're never going to be able to know if you never played guitar before. And even if you're a beginner and you do play a little bit, these technical aspects of guitars are really a totally separate thing. Okay, so let's get right to the tips. Tip number 1 is to figure out what kind of guitar you want in the broad sense. The 3 main types of guitar that there are, or that you'll probably be likely to learn how to play, is 1, the steel string acoustic guitar, 2, the nylon string acoustic guitar, and 3, the electric guitar. In a separate video, I'm going to do an in-depth description of these different types of guitars and what each of them kind of specializes in. But for now, I'm going to assume that you've already done some homework and you know which one you want. If you aren't sure what kind of guitar you want to learn how to play, now mind you, they're all the same in terms of where the notes are. They're technically the same, but they kind of lend themselves to different specialties. If you have no idea what kind of guitar you want to start with, my suggestion is to start with the steel string acoustic because it's highly versatile and it will build up the muscles that you need that you'd be able to play any other kind of guitar after that. Tip number 2, have a budget in mind before you go to purchase your instrument, before you go to the music store, before you go to the online site. We'll get to that later. If you have a set budget in mind, you won't be seduced by something that's more expensive and might be out of your price range, and quite frankly, might not give you any added benefit because you don't know enough yet to have a preference. Okay? So have a budget in mind. Ballpark figure, I would say, if you're looking to get a decent beginner guitar, your budget should probably be a minimum of about $250. Keep in mind there are other accessories you might need, and you most likely will need, like a guitar tuner, extra strings, picks, perhaps a music stand. Or if you're buying an electric guitar, you're going to need cables and an amp. So when you set your budget, that budget of about $250 really, I would say, is only for the guitar itself. Now you might be able to find something cheaper, and we'll discuss that a little bit later, but I think that's a good starting budget. If you could do a little bit more, up to maybe $400, you can get something a little bit better. Okay, number 3, if you have a teacher, and if you're going to start learning how to play guitar, I highly recommend you get a teacher. And I highly recommend that it is a teacher that you meet with in person, not an online teacher. Beginner guitarists should not be learning how to play online because there are bad habits that need to be corrected in person. That is very, very, very hard to do, if not impossible to do online. So if you have a teacher, I would recommend you offer to pay that teacher maybe one lesson's worth of whatever they charge to come to the music store with you. Go to your local music store with your teacher and have your teacher help you pick out a guitar. You can start by, looking at a guitar that you visually like. I mean, that's important. But then your teacher can take that guitar off the shelf with you and give it a once over. Check out the neck angle. Make sure the guitar holds tune. Make sure the action, which is the height of the strings, is reasonable. And make sure that the guitar actually fits the student. This is especially important for people who are either young, children, or people who are small, just happen to be smaller people with smaller hands. You want a guitar that will fit your body well. If you're a small child, you don't want a big dreadnought that you can't get your arm over, right? Even if it's a guitar that you like the looks of, it has to fit. And a teacher can help you determine if it's not only a good guitar, but if it's a guitar that fits the student. Also, a teacher can have you play a little bit on that guitar, maybe show you a few notes in the music store. And if you play a little bit already, you can kind of put your hands on this instrument and see if it works for you, see if it fits you right. Teacher or somebody in person will help you be able to determine that. Whereas if you just go to the store with your child or with your mom or by yourself and just say, I want that one, it's probably not going to be a good guitar. You might get lucky. The other thing is, in this day and age, you can't rely on a music store to have good staff that could properly guide you. It's a crapshoot. If you have a good reputable music store with a good staff, you might find the salesman that could really sit down with you and help you. But for the big box retailers, at least here in New York, Guitar Center, Sam Ash, I have to sadly say that is a crapshoot. And you can't trust that the person helping you buy the guitar knows anything or doesn't have their own best interest in mind. I am not trying to paint a bad picture of anybody, but this is your money and this is your investment, and you have to make sure that you're going there with all of the information. And if you can go to a music store that's highly recommended by someone you know and see a salesman that comes highly recommended, then by all means do it. But the default, take somebody you know and trust, preferably a teacher, and have them help you pick out a good guitar. Number 4, do not buy a guitar sight unseen. This is kind of related to the other topics. Okay, you need to physically see the guitar in your hands. You need somebody who's an expert to look at the guitar and make sure that it is a good, well-playing, well-functioning instrument. So as a rule, no online purchasing of guitars. And tip number 5, which is going to kind of contradict all of them, if you absolutely have to buy a guitar online, I have to say, I'm not endorsed by anybody. I don't even have that many followers, so this is not in any way an advertisement. But if you have to go online, I would say go to Sweetwater, okay? They're very, very knowledgeable. They have a very, very good sales team. They'll give you the personal attention that you need. They'll talk to you about it. They'll follow up with you after you make the purchase to make sure that you're happy with what you bought. They have a good return policy. And they also, to my knowledge, they go over the guitars that they purchase, that they have for sale. And they actually make sure that those guitars are decent. So their quality control in terms of the guitars they sell is better than most online guitar retailers that I know of. They're a very big name. They've been in business a long time. So if you have to buy a guitar online, maybe you live in the middle of nowhere, maybe you don't have a teacher that you can get to come with you to purchase the guitar, okay, then I would say if you have to go online, Sweetwater.com would be your best bet, okay? Please stick around for future videos. I'm going to do a whole series of beginner guitar videos for people like you who kind of don't know where to start. And I want to make sure that I can make this journey for you easier and enjoyable so that you could really get the most out of playing guitar and you could learn how to play guitar and you could become a kick-ass guitar player. That's what I want for you. I'm Frank Persico. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.